What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stochastic here in the Odd Shopper channel, coming to you with a 2025 edition of Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video, goes a long way for you. That way you become a proud whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. It's January 1st, 2025. Happy New Year's to all of you. Hopefully you were safe, happy, merry, and enjoyed yourself. That is for sure. I'm going to get myself going here. We're about, 4 hours from the new year here at a mountain time here in Scottsdale, but looking forward to talking you through this slate. I think there's some good value here in the early window. Again, every game starts at 7 p.m. Eastern time or later. So by early window, I mean there's some early sections where I think we want to be paying attention to some lines as they're rolling out. I'm going to be firing up from my home base again here tomorrow, but really excited about this slate 8-gamer. I've been spotty here of late. Hasn't been the best run for me over the course of the last week and a half, so got to tighten things up. It's time to rock, but it's a new year, not a new me. I'm ready to rock here. I feel pretty good about this. Producer Jacob, without further ado, let's get to the picks. Game number 1, Orlando and Detroit here. We've got -1.5 to 12.5 total, depending on where you're looking. And obviously, producer Jacob and I, we're not together here right now recording this one live together, so there might be a little bit of variation to some of the lines relative to what they normally are. Let that be known. Or I don't know which shoulder I'm even looking over because I've got everything. Computer's working really hard here to make sure that we get the goods out to you. But this is where I think the goods really start. Pace here for both of these teams in recent times. Orlando, defensively always been really short up, but pace-wise, Detroit even down a little bit here. And I think this number's a little high at 213.5, depending on which book you're looking at. Again, 212.5, kind of the prevailing number. I already bet this at 213.5 over at DraftKings. Think it's an advantageous number. Think it closes closer to that 211 range. I've got it at 210. Next up on our boarding walk, we've got ourselves Chicago at Washington, and this is kind of a dicey little basketball game. We know the pace is going to be the complete opposite of what I just talked about there, but Zach LaVine is questionable entering this one, kind of putting everything into disarray. Everybody would benefit, but it seems as though the books did project some of these guys up a little bit more than we're accustomed to. Well, not only because it's Washington and how horrendous that defense is on the other side, but to kind of account for the fact that Zach LaVine and that 27% usage you'd project him for in this spot, you're removing it off. But Jordan Poole's questionable as well. You have Marvin Bagley. I feel bad for him, although that knee injury, it looks like he's going to be back at the end of January, which is kind of cool to see. And Bub Carrington also questionable for this one. So pay close attention to the news. I'm going to call this a lean like for the time being. Kobe White's been a huge beneficiary when Zach LaVine is off the floor. We do have Josh Giddey that he still has to share ball handling duty with, but Josh Giddey not eating up nearly as much usage as a Zach LaVine, so more minutes for him. And Ayo Dosunmu being out kind of shores up minutes for Kobe White here. 20 plus would look really good. Over 19.5 points, currently -110 at DraftKings, just your standard number. Lean like, because I do have a lot of interest. If I knew LaVine was out, I would be firing this one up ad nauseum. So we have a lean like, which is basically something I'm very interested in. I hope you know that by now. And then we got New Orleans at Miami, a pretty disgusting total. And totals have been really, really profitable for us in the early going of this season. We have locked more totals on this program than ever before, and we've hit every single total lock. But this isn't a lock. There's actually no locks that are going to exist on the board for today. 221, though, is a large number with New Orleans and Miami. And no, we're not going to go anywhere near DeJounte Murray. This guy is legitimately dead to me. But Duncan Robinson, by the way, I don't have ban lists, but I'm thinking about it. Duncan Robinson, questionable for this one. Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, both off the injury report, which I find to be interesting. And you got Jeremiah Robinson-Earl. Don't really think that matters too much there on the New Orleans side of things. They're going to get their core guys out there. DeJounte Murray, CJ McCollum, Herb Jones, Trey Murphy, Eva Smith. You notice how I didn't say Brandon Ingram or Zion Williamson, because I expect in 2025 both of them to not be on the Pelicans potentially before the end of February. Well, that's interesting. Actually, beginning of February is the trade deadline, so whatever. Under 221, I like it here. Have this one closer to 218. It's actually a little bit underneath that. I think the pace looks a little high for my liking in this one. Yeah, I'm done talking. Another lean like on the card. What a time to be alive. Utah at New York and the Knicks in this one. I mean, the Jalen Brunson Q tag is eternal. It is just sitting there. It's staring us directly in the face every single time, and he continues to play through it against Washington. This kind of seems reminiscent to LeBron James and Anthony Davis when they constantly play through Q tags, so be aware, but you have to have it on your radar all the time. The name, the guy, is Miles McBride. If you get Jalen Brunson off the floor, he is your major beneficiary. They do not want to roll out minutes for Tyler Kolek here at this point in time out of Marquette. They really don't want to roll out minutes for Campaign all that much anymore either, although he had a nice beginning of this season. I think Miles McBride, the guy you want to really have on your radar here all the time, and I'm going to make it a lean like, I haven't bet this yet, obviously, but 10 plus points. You're going to be getting that a lot higher than it should be against a matchup like in Utah, and I think that there's backdoor outs in terms of blowout run here. I mean, they're gigantic favorites here yet again in this spot. 13.5, 14.5, depending on what book you're looking at. So for me, Miles McBride, I think, has extra outs in this type of a matchup. They've been big favorites against teams like Washington too. But I'm saying in this one specifically, Miles McBride might fire up 10 plus points here based on where that opening number ends up. And then looking at alternate lines there because, hey, cleanup duty for him also. One of those spots where, you know, Tibbs, you're going to need to be up by 20 plus to have Jalen Brunson there off the floor inside of 5-6 minutes. So hopefully you can get Jalen Brunson out one of these games. Can he rest one of these games with the Q tag? We will find out shortly. Don't have to wait for anything here. 50% off using code Lindy50. It is 2025, friends, and it is still a season of giving here. It is the presents that I'm giving you. Lindy50, that becomes $10 for your first week or $25 for your first month, less than $1 a day to jump into the premium Discord, hang out with a lot of sharp people, not just myself, but a lot of sharp people throwing around plays, giving each other a really positive feedback. And I appreciate that about that community that we've built over there in Tails. It's nice to be able to, hey, Eric, you've made me some money. Lindy, you've made me some money. I appreciate you. I understand you've sucked for the last week. Please stop sucking, first of all, but also Lindy50 if you could. Would love to see you guys there. Come hang out. Water's warm. Alrighty, y'all. Back to the picks. We're going to fly through these two games, Brooklyn at Toronto, and Grady Dick ends up sitting out the front end of the back-to-back. They're on the second half of this back-to-back here, but he's yet questionable. It's hamstring tightness, and RJ Barrett also with a Q tag. By the way, I don't know if anybody saw, they played Boston, and you got the exact stat line that I threw out there. 15 plus, 4 plus, 4 plus for Peyton Pritchard. Wish I had fired every dollar that I had bet on Tuesday on that, but I didn't, so that sucks. Anyway, 71 points is all Toronto could muster against Boston. It is brutal when you don't have anybody who can shoot right now. And Bruce Brown, he is getting mixed in there. And obviously Boston, they're really good at everything. So you don't want to overreact to one game. But Toronto, man, it's brutal. It's just that they're playing Brooklyn. They're still favorites in this spot going back north of the border here to Toronto. I'm interested to see D'Angelo Russell starting off here for this Brooklyn team right from the get-go. Does he play massive minutes? I don't know, but he could be really interesting from like a fantasy perspective, from an alts perspective. I mean, does he play 36 minutes right from the get-go back with his former team? I don't know, but he's not a very good real-life player. Just keep that in mind. I'm just going to go Brooklyn money line as a lean because you have two massive things that can shift for you, and Toronto won a back-to-back. We just saw that, obviously. It's a one-game sample size that I'm citing, but you just saw what happened with the Clippers after they blew everybody out and then got blown out themselves against San Antonio. Toronto, they got completely the doors knocked off of them. Oh, they could get the doors knocked off of them again. Again, it's Toronto. 3 games to go. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell is the game that I'm still mad about. Dallas, you had Kyrie Irving not on the injury report. He gets ruled out early in the day there. The lock doesn't come through on Monday. I'm in pain and sorrow, and I'm poorer than I would have been. But we got Kyrie Irving there. He's off the injury report. Same thing with Klay Thompson, off the injury report. How did I lose both of those guys with 3.5? Then it becomes 6.5, and then they lose. I saw people jumping in on 9.5. They lose by 10. So awesome job. Good job. Good effort. Thanks, Dallas and Jason Kidd. Derek Lively, questionable. He's your one guy in the entire game, other than Tari Eason on the Houston side of things that you have to be paying attention to. But, I mean, this is basically Dallas +5 here, a low-variance type basketball game. You do still have Ahmed Thompson suspended because, well, he threw a dude to the ground. You can't do that. Seems like a bad thing to do. So we're just going to bypass this game and move on. My two favorite spots potentially on this entire card. Now, I will say if Jalen Brunson's out, I'm going to try to get every dollar I can down on that Miles McBride number, maybe some other New York Knicks as well. Karl Anthony Towns, hi, how are you this fine day? But Atlanta at Denver in this spot, you know by now he's an absolute wagon. Jalen Johnson's your most improved player currently, and I know that's kind of a bum award, but I don't think it's that bum of an award when you're looking at a 246.5 total here. And look, I thought his 24.5 points plus assists would get nuked up to like 26.5, 27.5, and it'd be completely unbettable. Alas, it is 25.5 inside of -110 over at Caesars, north of a 23 or 24% usage, depending on the circumstances. Trae Young taking on less usage, highest assist rate of his career, lowest usage rate of his career. And we're seeing Jalen Johnson take over this offense a lot of the time. Now, you do have some interesting Q tags here in this spot because, well, I don't know, no Q tags is what I kind of mean is it's the one game that there isn't one player questionable from. Like even in the next game, we have Andre Drummond, Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, Jay Crowder, a lot of Q tags. I'm looking at the Dallas-Houston game, 2 Q tags, Q tag in Jalen Brunson, Q tag in Mike. No Q tags in Atlanta and Denver. And hey, 8-2 are the Denver Nuggets there with Russell Westbrook. Can you tell I'm very tired? Russell Westbrook. Happy 4th of July, whatever day it is. Oh, yeah, it's the first. We should just move on. We've got ourselves Jalen Johnson over 25.5 points plus assists. I like it inside of -110. Fire that one up for sure. And to round out our program, again, no locks here. We'll get some locks back on the card, I'm pretty sure, tomorrow, but pretty inefficient. Don't want to go completely nuts with this card, but I feel confident about this card purely because of this play specifically. Phoenix at Sacramento. Tyrese Maxey. Have you looked at his numbers without Joel Embiid off the floor? Well, you should, because they're absurd. 26.2% assist rate and a 28.4% usage rate. But it gets better because Jared McCain will also be out for this one. Tobias Harris was on this team in previous iterations. And Paul George, not exactly looking for a shot all that often. Kelly Oubre is out there at times. But Tyrese Maxey, guys, this is somebody that I legitimately think is live for like 40, 45, 50 here against Sacramento. One, defensively. They are going to be atrocious in the post-Mike Brown era. They're just going to be atrocious. You need to prepare yourself. They're going to be downright pitiful. So get yourself some Tyrese Maxey points ladders in your life. He is going to take all of the shots. I have him projected for a 33% usage rate in this spot going up against De'Aaron Fox, who plays no defense. Against Malik Monk playing more minutes, who plays no defense. You have no opportunity to stop anybody. And you got Keegan Murray doubtful. Yeah, it's going to be Doug McDermott. You might get some more minutes for the likes of a Kevin Huerter, Keon Ellis. But my dear sweet God, this is all about Tyrese Maxey. If there's one thing you take from this program, Tyrese Maxey is going to destroy Sacramento, or I will eat my hat. A goose. And that does it for a quick and easy edition of NBA Lindy's Leans, Likes, and Locks. Hit that like button. Go to the comment section below. Let me know your favorite plays that exist on the board. I'm going to get us on the right track. I'm going to get us back on the right track here. It's been, a week of just meandering around. Now, we've hit all the big bets, all the big 1.5, 2-unit bets there we've had in the premium Discord, but 3 or 4 of them don't make up for the half-unit L's that have been coming in way too much here over the last couple days. Time for me to tighten it up, short up here to start off 2025. Hopefully you had a great New Year's. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you, producer Jacob, for shoring this up after the fact. Until next time, friends, I'm Eric Lindquist. Best of luck in the NBA streets on Wednesday.